Finding a big, nasty, and tough guy is easy, but find me that guy who is a linebacker. Well, that's Fred Warner. Fred Warner is not your regular linebacker. He's strong, skilled, athletic, and understands the game's technique. While playing at the Mission Hills High School football team, Warner was recognized for his strengths as a prolific outside linebacker and was ultimately named the All-San Diego Section Defensive Player of the Year. And when you thought you had heard the last of him, Fred signed a 5-year deal worth $95.2 million with the San Francisco 49ers. Things began to look bright for his career until something happened. November 19, 1996, we saw the birth of Federico Anthony Warner in San Marcos, California, to Fred Warner and Laura as the oldest of one daughter and 2 sons. Fred's dad, Fred, and Laura divorced when Warner was just a toddler, and Laura had to raise Fred and the rest of his siblings as a single mother. Nothing much is known about Fred's dad, but it is believed that he was never happy in the marriage and had to call it quits when he had had enough. At some point, he admitted that his kids were a blessing, but he was never there when they needed him the most. So Fred and his siblings hardly get to talk about him. Growing up, Fred was a very quiet kid who loved to color, play with his books, draw, and watch his favorite cartoon, Blue's Clues. Like his mom, Fred gravitated towards neatness and order, but one thing he lacked was focus, a place to direct his energy. And because he was becoming very energetic, Laura had to put it to good use by introducing him to sports as early as she could. Fred tried out for soccer, but 4 was the youngest age at the time. So he tried out t-ball, but found it too boring and soon hated the game. When he was 7, he decided to give football a try, a move that would later change his life forever. Laura never had to worry about Fred's direction and focus anymore because Fred eventually fell in love with the game. One day, Laura took Fred for his usual practice. During the game, she noticed her little boy was down with an injury and she immediately ran onto the field to help him up. And the coach, visibly angry, yelled at her that she couldn't just run into the field when they had a team that could handle the situation. Fred loved football so much that he couldn't wait for practice. Any day he had to practice or play a game, he'd wake up early, help his mom around the house, and wouldn't stop screaming until she took him to practice. Call him a crazy football fanatic, and you absolutely won't be wrong. Coupled with being a single mom and Fred being the first child, Laura put a lot of pressure on little Fred because she didn't just want him to do better, she wanted him to be a leader and an example to his siblings. At a time, she felt it was too much for him to handle. Laura would drive an hour back and forth from work every day for 20 years just to provide for her kids and fund Fred's early football career. Laura was a hard worker and never felt she had provided enough, so it was understandable that she needed nothing but the best from her little boy. Fred saw this as motivation. He took everything quite seriously and found a way to channel the pressure to the game. And it wasn't much of a responsibility to him. I saw football as a hobby, not a responsibility. And when something becomes a hobby, you really can't get tired of doing it. Even the pressure keeps you on your feet, knowing you have to give it your best, said Fred. Fred weighed 10 pounds at birth and kept that heft in his youth, which helped him excel in the game. But when he arrived at Mission Hills High School, Warren wasn't as big as the other players, and he struggled quite early. Still, he succeeded in putting up a stellar performance as a junior. People came to understand that Fred played so dominantly that anytime he was on the field, you knew where he was because he was creating a structure. His athleticism indicated that he would be a unique player in college. As an outside linebacker, Fred was recognized for his strengths and was eventually named the All-San Diego Section Defensive Player of the Year. Fred was also named to the Cal High Sports All-State First Team and All-California First Team by USA Today. Warner also earned the Avocado East League Defensive Player of the Year title. Warner was raised in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. As a teenager, Laura converted from Catholicism, and she took her kids regularly to their meeting house. Fred would tell ward members of his ambitions to be a pro football player, to which pretty much anybody would say, "You go get them, kid," to his face, and "God bless his heart," behind his back. Soon, a BYU alum who was a fellow ward member contacted the Cougars coaching staff. Kelly Poppinga, a linebackers coach at BYU who became Fred's lead recruiter, recalled, "We pulled up the film, and Warner was pretty good." In 4 years at BYU, Fred was a 3-year starter and registered over 264 total tackles, 32 tackles for loss, 7 interceptions, 6.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 5 fumble recoveries, and 13 pass breakups. In school history, Warner's 7 career interceptions ranked second among linebackers. On November 20th, 2017, Warner accepted his invitation to play in the 2018 Senior Bowl. Warner recorded 6 combined tackles and put up a stellar performance that impressed scouts and added value to his draft stock. Fred attended private workouts and pre-draft visits with multiple teams, including the Buffalo Bills, Denver Broncos, and the San Francisco 49ers. After the pre-draft process, Scouts Inc. ranked Fred the 4th best outside linebacker, while DraftScout.com ranked him the 6th best outside linebacker. June 13, 2018 was probably one of the best days of Warner's life as he signed a 4-year contract worth $3.97 million, which included a signing bonus of $1.01 million. In 3 seasons, the 49ers paid Fred Warner just $2.9 million for his elite linebacker play, and Fred never missed a game. This means in the first 3 seasons of his career, the linebacker raked in roughly $60,000 per game. And if you think that's huge, check out his extension contract. Fred has a net worth of approximately $10 million, and it's not surprising considering the fact that he signed a 5-year contract extension worth $95 million with the 49ers, which will run through 2026. And that's not all. The deal comes with $40.5 million guaranteed, making him the 2nd highest paid inside linebacker in the league after Shaquille Leonard of the Indianapolis Colts. Warner received $27.5 million fully guaranteed at signing, with $40.5 million virtually guaranteed at signing. Fred also received a $12.32 million signing bonus, along with a $12.68 million fully guaranteed option bonus in 2022 that subsequently adds up to 2026. The remaining $984,000 of his 2022 base salary and the $12.016 million of his 2023 base salary became fully guaranteed in the 2022 league year. If the 49ers fail to exercise the buyback of the 2 voidable years, 2025 and 2026, it becomes a 3-year, $18.375 million deal, $40.5 million of which is guaranteed. But if the 49ers exercise the buyback, it's a 5-year, $19 million extension. We all get to work out, and that's fine, but what's not fine in this deal is that Fred gets paid $100,000 just to work out. Is it just me, or is this crazy? And one would expect that with a massive deal, Fred would spoil himself with a super ride, expensive jewelry, and even a nice house. But it seems Warner is wired differently. Fred has revealed that he's not the type to spend recklessly. He believes that as long as he's with his mom and siblings and he can afford to get a home for them whenever he wants, he'd be fine. He sees the deal as his 2nd biggest blessing after his mom, and he'd do anything to keep her happy. For now, we know Fred just bought a property, but the location hasn't been revealed. Early this year, his wife posted on her Instagram page that the couple are now homeowners. Yes, you heard that right. Fred is married to Sydney Hightower. The couple announced their engagement in May 2021 and tied the knot in June 2022 in San Diego. And Fred's brother, Troy Warner, who plays for Terrell Burgess of the Los Angeles Rams and Tampa Bay Buccaneers, was also in attendance. Sydney described their love life as a fairy tale love story and said the wedding was traditional while expressing her excitement. Warner married at just 25, and with a beautiful wife cheering him down the trenches, things can only get better. Warner now simply focuses on trying to make the best of each play each day. "I want to be nothing but the best," Fred said. "You talk about the greats of this game, guys who played at an elite level in the NFL for a long time. That's what I strive for. I want to be consistently great each day so one day I can look up and be proud of the effort I put in. Thanks for watching, and as always, we'll catch you in the next one.